Okay.
Yeah, we're good.
So, first of all, I need to make sure that you are 100% committed to this arts-based research presentation. So, to ensure that, everybody raise their right hand. So, say, say your name.
I, Joseph
Hale, promise to give 100%.
Promise to give 100%.
Scratch that 110%.
Scratch that 110%.
To this arts-based research presentation.
To this arts-based research presentation. Perfect.
It's on videotape, so if any of you don't participate, I got it on video. It's very good.
If you want, you can highlight your name.
Oh. You have a role as well.
Thank you.
Okay, so all that I'm asking of you is to please follow along and read your lines. Ladies and gentlemen, do you want to be bogged down with boring research methods?
No!
Do you want to hear about a creative, unique, and dare I say, fun way to research your thesis?
Yes!
You bet I do.
It's called Arts-Based Educational Research, also known as ABER.
ABER? That's right. What does it mean to say that an approach to education research is arts-based?
Well, it is an approach that is artistic in character and associated with the arts and humanities.
Most existing ABER primarily focuses on literature.
Oh, you mean like short stories, literary essays, music, theater, and poetry?
Exactly. In a minute, I'll be showing you an example of a short story, and Joseph will be talking about music.
What is the goal of using ABER?
Just like the goal of any other research method, the goal is for the betterment of educational policy and practice.
Then what is the difference between a more traditional way of research and ABER?
Traditional research is based on cold, hard facts. It is conducted for the purpose of arriving at knowledge that is highly valid, reliable, truthful, and trustworthy.
Very scientific.
Right. And instead, the purpose of ABER is the enhancement of a perspective. It moves to broaden and deepen ongoing conversation about educational policy and practice.
Very artistic.
Right again, Kyle.
So ABER is more like...
Wait a second.
I didn't actually think you were going to.
Come on.
I'm just hoping that you
110%.
Is this a joke?
I don't.
No, do it.
I think you might be too tall to do one in here.
I know.
Well, I think you do it.
At least a somersault.
I do think he's too tall.
just a mini one.
Get it on
Yeah,
tape,
it's been
though.
a few years.
It's not on YouTube. Now,
Yes.
so ABER is more like raising questions rather than finding answers.
Exactly.
So, just to make sure we all have this right, by using ABER we can write poetry, essays, plays, novels, biographies, journals, or even a collection of short stories.
Yes.
And through those literary formats, ABER's aim is to raise important educational questions in the reader's mind.
Precisely. Here is an arts-based statement of purpose from a former student's thesis. Following is a fictionalized account of school rampage shooters. Though the point of view changes frequently, it is largely from the shooter's viewpoints. It is not the author's intention to glorify or condone such actions. The author's intention is to elucidate the delinquent behaviors of individuals who desire such carnage. This short story was written as a creative expression that allows the reader to engage a realistic plot involving school rampage shootings. The author frowns on violent behaviors in any setting.
Whoa, it's about to get real. Do I provide the musical tone? Up in here, up in here.
Thank you. Yep, it seems as though you guys are starting to get it. Here is a small portion of that student's Aber short story. The short story is made up of journal-like parts that are written by different characters, therefore having different perspectives throughout the story. And it gets a little bit, the language gets a little...
Colorful.
Yes, colorful, thank you. So, Thomas, this is one of the different viewpoints. Rick walked up to my house that morning at 7 sharp. I couldn't believe it. Here I am, eating breakfast before the television when he comes knocking on my door. Rick? He peered into the screen door and apparently could not see me. Let me in, Rick said cheerfully. Come in. When Rick came in, he nodded at my dad, who was on his way out with his briefcase and the newspaper under his arm. I aimed my finger like a gun at my dad's back as he left. What the fuck are you doing here? I asked Rick when he came in. Walking to school with you. What's this, 9th grade again? Rick laughed it off. You want a signed excuse from my parents, or should you just get off my goddamn back? It was the old Rick, all right. Rick hated first period history with Gregors because Gregors was a fucking prick, and half the class was part of the baseball squad or the scumbag football team. The last time Rick was there, like 2 weeks ago, as Rick was called on to answer a question, Peter Mayhew, the worst motherfucker of them all, made an ass out of Rick, making comments that I don't care to repeat. Shit about his mom and our crew. Shit, it bugged me, the shit Mayhew said. And so Rick's lounging now on my sofa, and I notice he's a bit more dressed than usual. What's a special occasion, man? Rick, his hands in his trench coat, shrugged, not taking his hands out of his pockets. His tight black t-shirt and tight jeans were unusually cleaner than usual, and his boots looked as though they had been polished, with new red laces put through them. 2 weeks ago, I bought a stolen handgun from Tim Cape, some new kid, and when he showed up with the brown paper lunch bag across the street from Eagle, things were looking up, I thought. I said, I paid Cape $200, and when I got into the woods, the .380 was just like the one Bond carried. Handsome, stylish. I shot a few bottles, and then I thought that some hunter would come up and ask some nonsense about the off-season or what my business was. At that point, I'd aim it at that hunter and make him wish he'd been shooting clay discs on a target range. After I finished washing my dishes in the kitchen, I came in and noticed Rick staring out the front window onto the street. He seemed to be 100 miles away from me for a moment, when he turned around and his face was pure business. I've got big plans coming up, he said. Really? I asked with no amusement in my voice. You gonna help me kill my dad? I asked, but Rick went on. You remember in 8th grade when you still hung around the skaters and I was already hanging with Max and Devin and the rest of the guys? He asked. Yeah. You remember that day in art class when Bobby Fago Burker was doing that painting and making Tina Murphy laugh her ass off? Rick stopped for a moment and looked into the kitchen, looking very detached. And when you asked them what was so funny since you and Fago were okay with each other, they showed you the painting? Forget it, I said, remembering all too well the scene in the art. When Burker turned the painting around, he painted a rather detailed caricature of Rick. Everybody who saw it laughed at it, and even the teacher commented on how much it resembled Rick. It didn't help that Burger had added some rather crude and offensive details to it. Who could forget that shit? Rick snapped out of his zone and became almost bubbly again. Come on, I want to show you some shit that's definitely cool, he said to me, and he punched me in the arm and walked out the front door.
Well, that's a good story and all, but what does that have to do with research or anything that belongs in an educational thesis?
Part of this student's research said that the shooters usually hang on to embarrassing or miserable things that happened to them in the past. That's their motive. So in his story, he portrays shooters that have exactly that, embarrassing moments they never forgot. which links his research to his short story.
So, what do you guys think about Aber so far?
This is awesome. I second that.
Great! So does this presentation make anyone want to use Aber in their thesis?
Wow, terrific job, Lauren.
Thank you very much, Professor. So since a way to use Aber in your thesis is a play, I decided to make my presentation in the form of one too. I hope you learned something about arts-based research, and I hope you'll find a way to incorporate it into your thesis. It's all you, Joseph.
Great. Thank you, Lauren.